Hello everyone, welcome to e-learning of IT for 12th standard. This video is for 12th standard commerce students. We are discussing chapter number 5 from syllabus, and in last lecture we have discussed about introduction to the base, that is how the application base appears in the LibreOffice. Today we will discuss about a table and different data types that are used in a base. As we know, there are different objects to the database like table, query, report, etc. So out of that, today we will discuss about a table. What is a table? So table is nothing but a basic unit for storing a data in database. To store any kind of data, we will use a entity basic unit, that is a table. For example, if you are creating a database for a medical shop, then the tables can be created like medicines, customer, supplier, etc. So the table is the basic unit to store a data in database. Medicine table will contain a data about a medicines. Customers table will contain a data about a customers, etc. So table is a basic unit to store a data in database. Tables are organized in the form of columns and rows. So table always consisting of a rows and columns. Before creating a table, user should first decide the entity, that is for which entity a table is to be created. So that's why first of all user must decide the entity and then to create a table. Entity, what is the entity? Entity is any real world object about which data is to be stored, that can be called as a entity. For example, customer, supplier is an entity. If you are maintaining a database for school, then student, teacher can be an entity. So entity is any real world object about which you want to store a data. So first of all, user should decide such an entity and then table will be created. Attributes of entity are stored in the form of columns. What are the attributes? Attributes are nothing but, for example, if your entity is customer, then attributes will be like customer ID, customer name, customer address, date of birth, contact number, etc. These are nothing but the attributes of that entity. So attributes of an entity are stored in the form of columns. Table consists of rows and columns. One row is nothing but a one record that will contain a information about a one customer, and that row is consisting of different columns. Those are nothing, those columns consisting of attributes of that entity. So attributes are stored in the columns. Information stored under each column forms a row, which is called as a record or tuple. So information under every column is nothing but a row. It forms a one record or one tuple. So that is about a table. What is table? Table is a basic unit to store a data in database. It consisting of rows and columns, and it is the information about entity. So user first decide entity and then create a table. Entity always consisting of different attributes. So those attributes are stored in the columns, and the information under every column forms a row, which is a one record or tuple. See here example, if student is an entity which has attributes like roll number, name, address, standard, date of birth, email address. So in this kind of information is nothing but attributes of student entity. See here a diagram. Here you can see a table. Okay. So these are the different fields: roll number, name, address, standard, date of birth, and these are nothing but the columns in this table, and these are rows. Okay. So under every column information is there, that is suppose 1701 is the roll number of first student. This is the name, this is address, standard 12, date of birth. This is the information of one student. So this horizontal row is nothing but a record. One record is there. So in this way there are two different records. Roll number, name, address are nothing but the attributes of student, that is a columns, and these are the rows. So rows are nothing but a records or tuples. So this is about a table. Table consists of rows and columns. Now to create a database, we will use a base software, and in the base we have to define a certain data type for every field of the table. So for that purpose we first should understand the different data types used in a base. So data types available in base can be divided into three categories as alphanumeric, numeric and calendar, and the binary type. So alphanumeric means that is consisting of alphabets and numbers also. Numeric, that is a numerical data only. Calendar, it consisting of date and time type of values. And the binary, it stores a different binary information, image details, etc. So let us see the different data types used in a base. First is a tiny integer. It is defined as a tiny int. Tiny int, that is tiny integer. It stores small integer. Then big int, to store a big integer. Big int is used. It stores a big integer. Then image, long var binary is used to store a image. Then var binary is used to store information of a binary information, but that is of a variable length. And if we will use a only binary, it will store a binary information but of fixed length. Var binary is used to store binary information of variable length, and binary is used to store a binary data of the fixed length. Then long varchar, so it stores the descriptive type of information like a large block of text, article text, etc. So that is stored with a long varchar. Then next is a text. So text is used with the stored with a char type. It stores a fixed size characters, fixed size text. So these are the different data types. Some more data types are also there. See here, number, it is stored with a numeric type, or decimal, it is stored with a decimal type. So these stores a number with or without a decimal point, but will display the data type's original length and allow to set a decimal. That is, you can define the decimal points. After the decimal point, how many digits should be there? This can be specified using base. Then integer, to store an integer type is used, and it is the most commonly used data type. Small integer, to store a small integer, small int is used. It stores a integer. Then float is used to store a decimal point number, that is number with a decimal point. Then real, double and varchar. Real and double, these are used to store a number with or without decimal point, and it is used when very much approximate result is required. Then we will use a real or double data type. Then to store a text type of data, varchar is used. It stores a variable size text. Varchar defines variable size of text. Then varchar ignore case. This is used to define a text with case insensitive version. That is, lowercase or uppercase does not matter for that text. Then in that case, we can use a varchar ignore case. Then to specify a yes no type of value, we can use a boolean. It stores a boolean type of data. That is either true or false, yes or no. So for that we will use boolean type. Then date, to store a date in the form of month, day and year, that is YY format, date type is used. Time is used to store a time, and it is of the format SS, that is hours, minutes and seconds format. Then date time, to store a date time completely, we will use a time stamp. It stores a date as well as time. And other data type stores any other object. So these are the different data types used with a base, use in a base. So we have to first of all select a entity, then attributes of it, and to specify a appropriate data type for each attribute, then table will be created. For example, to store a customer ID, we will use an integer. To store a name of the customer, we will use a varchar. It will store a variable size of text. So in this way we have to define a certain data type for every field. So note down definition of table, all these points about a table, draw this diagram and draw these note down these all data types used in a base also. Thank you.